Beautiful. Hello, everybody. And we're going to take the time to let some people come in and start sharing away. So let's get this going. We're going to start saying good morning and good evening as everybody is hopping in. My stuff is being super, super slow for some reason. There we go. Hey, you guys. Okay, let's go make sure. And then share with Colin. Right on. Hi, guys. Good morning, Lyndon. Hi, Liz. Okay, wow. Make sure my volume is up. I think we got this in a couple places, which is nice. Please feel free to share wherever you feel this will be helpful for people. Let's see. One more. Oh, I have to find this. There we go. Perfect. Right on. Oh my goodness. Good morning. Oh, I missed last week. Thank you guys for being so gracious. I was able to spend an amazing Mother's Day. My children surprised me with a yummy breakfast casserole, and I got to see my Oma, who'd been a little under the weather. And then we had a move. We've been moving that whole time. And I missed my coffee with Colin. I think I'm going to get like a coffee with Colin t-shirt. Maybe we should do that, Colin. Put those on your Patreon or something. Coffee with Colin. just, um, I'm just making things up for you. Just go ahead and toss it out there. But oh, I'm so happy to be back with you here this morning and be able to connect with everybody. So I can't wait to discuss today's topic. Today we're going to be talking about the philosophy behind Freemasonry. And Colin's done some extensive research on this. I, of course, have opinions, and I think all of us are going to have ideas and know how this has affected us in more ways than we are even aware of. And do not take my super cute Norwegian cow picture as like Baphomet horns, okay? Like this is like, I know that might be but it's actually an adorable little cow face, and I just love him. So, oh my gosh, let's start chatting. Colin, like I know that you're deep into, and this is actually I think something we talked about before, just only briefly, very briefly. So, what are you discovering about Freemasonry and how that affects us as a collective?
Yeah, I've been watching um, a BitChute video by a guy called Altion Childs, and I'll send you the link so you can perhaps post it onto the bottom of this particular video. And he talks about Freemason. He's an ex-Freemason himself. And I've heard a lot of people doing exposés on Freemasonry, but he goes very, very deep into it and exposes the symbolism, the rituals they have, and he exposes the people who are behind it, many of the people. And frankly, I was surprised to see some of the people who are involved with it. So I thought it's a good idea, because I feel that what the world really needs is a moral regeneration. And I do believe that is coming because it's part of raising our awareness and our consciousness and freeing ourselves from all the secrets and the lies and the deceptions that are going on here. And the more we expose the darkness on this planet, the more light we bring to our own lives and to the lives of others. So I thought it'd be useful if people do know something about Freemasonry and the philosophy behind it and where it comes from, because it has a very long history. It comes even from biblical times when they built the temple, Solomon's temple. There was a Freemason, there was a Mason at that time who was murdered because of.
Well, I need to tell you all something.
Hold on.
It's the most important thing I could ever say to you.
So your mic is
While
a little muffled.
I'm certain that I'm
And
putting
I
my
don't
very
know.
life on
Okay,
and
And
the
are you-
safety of my by sharing this with you.
Oh, sorry, one of my videos started switching on.
That's okay. It gave us a good break for a second because you're a little bit muffled, at least on my end. So I just want to be sure that my cat is trying to open the door. She does this when I go into session. Sorry, actually she's a he. I don't know why I always called him a she. Maybe that's so that's weird. I didn't know he could actually like knock the doorknob like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to go back to something that you just said about exposing the darkness on this planet. I really feel that this is something that so many people overlook, especially in the spiritual community. They refuse to actually see the dark aspects of who and what are running the planet, and the dark aspects of what is happening spiritually on this planet in general. Because without understanding and exposing the darkness, understanding how it works, then we can't truly step into the light and become the light beings that we are. Not truly, because we're not healing anything, right? We're missing a whole aspect of this. So I love that you're bringing this up. So thank you.
Yeah, because light is truth. And where there's truth, it exposes darkness. And we need to bring out as much truth as we can to the people so that it will expose the darkness. And there is a dark organization, worldwide organization on this planet that is called Freemasonry. Okay, and it's a secret organization, and anything that is secret is likely to be of the dark.
Oh, my cat is going crazy. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's gotten into him. He's being very bizarre.
Vibes.
It's so bizarre. I'm so sorry for the interruption. Okay.
It's a black cat, so it's maybe picking up the vibrations.
Probably is. Yeah. I have two black cats because, so many people don't like the black cats, and they're hard to find homes for. And I find them most protective. So I quite enjoy them.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, is we need to take a lot of the superstition out of things. We need to really understand them and really understand what darkness is. Darkness of itself is not an evil thing.
Right.
It's what it does that causes the evil, and what darkness is because in a sense, there's no such thing as darkness in the universe. There is light everywhere in the universe. But it's only when the light is shielded that it creates a shadow. That it creates. So in a sense, the darkness is just truth not revealed. Okay, and this organization, the Freemasons, when an initiate goes into this organization, they have to take an oath not to tell anything to anybody about Freemasonry. So they're bound to vow silence. And of course, if you operate in secrecy, you are then naturally of the dark, because you're not transparent. Because everything in the universe is meant to be transparent, and when something's not transparent, it hides the light, and that causes the darkness. So by its very nature, a secret organization, as John F. Kennedy said in his speech in 1961, that he said, we are as a people inherently opposed um, to organizations, secret societies and secret
Yeah.
organizations. Yeah. And that was for a good reason. This planet cannot operate functionally and coherently if there is secrets. There are secrets. And all secrets need to be exposed because secrets are just what I explained. It hides the light and it causes darkness. So darkness of itself is not evil. It's the people who are not transparent that cause the darkness that causes the evil. And energetically, that's how it works. You know, if you block off any energy, waves of energy, then of course the energy is then expelled and it's absorbed into whatever is causing the blocking of that energy. So people who are not transparent are essentially absorbing energy that doesn't belong to them. So they become energy vampires.
Right. Unknowingly. One of the things that, before we started this morning, I wrote down the words consent and free will. And I wrote them down because I was actually thinking about how easy it is for something like a possession to happen. Because let's see, there was like this movie with Denzel Washington in it, and he was actually searching for Azazel as a serial murderer. I forget what the name of the movie is. It'll come to me. But the entity, the demonic entity, could actually enter the body through the touch, just touching somebody without even the person knowing. And this is actually how possession works, or how the darkness works. When we can't see, when we can't see it and we don't know what we're up against, we automatically then are in consent of it. And I don't
Yeah.
know how, uh, I wish everyone came with manuals that could understand this, right? Like, okay, you're going to Earth. Here's your manual, and here's the lay of the land. But we have to have that polarity in order to grow the light, and in order to, create the spiritual awareness. We need polarity, but why is it so intense, like through these secret societies? Like, why does the polarity have to be more? Is it a design? Like, is it actually designed for us to wake up to this, or is it something for a full planetary takeover? Am I making myself clear? Am I asking the question in a way that makes sense?
Yeah, and in a sense, it's prophesied in the Bible that in the last days, the Antichrist will come. And the Antichrist will not be a person, in my view. The Antichrist will be the antichristic consciousness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The consciousness
Anti-human, anti-Christ. Yeah.
yeah. And and when this being arises, it will have certain features about it. But the most prominent one, it will be that it will come like a thief in the night.
Mm-hmm.
It will suddenly arise, and overtake people's consciousness. They'll be very surprised. And we had that last year in, early last year in January and February, when suddenly this world was locked down because of something that people couldn't see. And that's
Exactly.
is how these people operate. Make people afraid of what they can't see. Don't tell them how the unseen works. So you hide the unseen from them, and then they become obviously afraid of the dark
Right.
because they can't see in the dark. But if you know how the unseen works, you can go with your eyes closed, and like blind people do. They live quite comfortably without being able to see the light and see things. And there is an inner knowing that people can develop about, and it's called intuition. And women are far better at developing their intuition than men are. Men, really define themselves by what they do, whereas women tend to define themselves by who they are, and not so much, and their looks, because that's a big part of a woman's identity. But men tend to really just focus on the things they do and define themselves by the things they do, and also the way they look, which are just an external thing. People have this identity with things outside of themselves. They can't see the invisible person that occupies their body. That is their soul. And that invisible person is far more powerful than people give that person credit for, because they only identify with what's external to them. So being able to control humans is a very easy thing. You give them something external to them and tell them that it's going to hurt them, and then they, of course, will obey, which is absolute nonsense.
I agree. Can you adjust your mic just a little bit? Or maybe it's like, maybe there's something that's touching it a little bit.
But could be my fan is making noise. I don't know if that's the problem.
No, I don't know. And I don't know, just some, like the words just feel muffled. And it could just be our connection.
It could just be a connection, because my mic and camera are integrated together. So
yeah, that actually feels, I feel like it sounds a little bit better.
Let me see if I adjust my speaker audio.
Thank you.
I've turned my volume down. Is that okay?
Yeah, actually I can hear you a little bit better. I just want to make sure people can hear, because you're saying some really good stuff. And I know we've got the subtitles turned on too, so people can read it as well. But
yeah, I haven't adjusted my settings at all since the last time I appeared on that show. So I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes it just happens. Maybe it's what we're talking about. I want to go back to the things. Okay, here's something that I think is really challenging for so many of us to understand. And I want to get your take on this and how you combat the darkness in terms of, now, when things are hidden in plain sight, when the darkness is hidden in plain sight, so kind of hidden in the light, but shrouded in the darkness. So how do you explain to people why something or how something is, how do you explain how the lies hide in truth, which keeps them in the darkness? Does that make sense? So like, in order for a lie to hide, it has to be embodied with truth. So how does somebody see the lie? Because the lie could be super, super tiny in a whole like article of truth, right? And then here's this little lie, but it's that one lie that is so important that creates the darkness. How do we recognize that? Can your average person recognize that? And is that something that needs to be done on a soul level or a spirit level, or can we do that in a 3D way?
It all depends on one's in owning up to who you are. And being who you are, being authentic as a person. And the problem that arises, as I said, people identify with the things outside of them. They identify with the philosophies they've been taught, the doctrines and the dogma that they've received. And so they think that's what makes them them. But in actual fact, people are blocking out the truth of who they are. So they can never really be exposed to the truth outside of them because they are blocking their own truth. So it's very important that people deal with it on an individual level and just accept themselves for who they are and what they are and own up. If you make a
Own up.
mistake,
Mhm.
own up.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be wrong. You know, we all have the right to be wrong. We all have the right to make mistakes. It's not something that we have to hide from everybody. But on this stupid planet, what people are, they're told that there are 10 commandments, and if you don't obey those 10 commandments, you're going to hell. And so people adjust their behaviors accordingly, and they hide their, 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 the truth of their failure. They hide the truth of their
Essence.
their no, their own. Gosh, my mind's going. They're hiding their own weaknesses, from themselves. They
Mm-hmm.
want their vulnerabilities. That's what I was thinking about. They tend to hide their vulnerabilities because they want to be perfect. Like, because everyone's told, they've got to be perfect in this and perfect in that and perfect. Everybody wants to be perfect here. But that is just a stupid idea. Philosophically, it's a stupid idea because there is nothing that can be perfect other than the whole. And the whole of creation is perfect, but it has a lot of imperfections within it. And those imperfections are meant to live lives that help them to become perfect. And it's that transmutation from the imperfect to the perfect, which is what our soul evolutionary journey is all about, so that we become more like God than in our behavior. So the real me is meant to evolve into a better version of the whole, which is, the whole of the universe, the God, the creator. Um, and that's not an impossibility because, if you work hard at it and, and understand it better, then it is possible to live a life where you don't judge other people, you don't make assessments about other people that are not true, you don't talk about other people. You begin to recognize your own imperfections in a world that is imperfect. But hiding from the truth will not help you to become perfect. And so this whole doctrine they have in this organization of hiding, of being secret, is just going to, and to put it frankly, it's just satanic to do that, because that is the role of Satan, to hide the truth from us, to blind us from the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And but if one works on an individual level, on your own level, and understand your imperfections, understand your vulnerabilities, understand yourself, and being allowing of yourself to be who you are in a genuine kind of way without pretending to be someone else. And I see this a lot. Well, I don't see it a lot because I don't go out much anymore, but I've seen it a lot in other people in my life. In fact, I was like that. I was living a lie. I was trying to be somebody that I'm not. I was doing things to please other people. I was doing things to earn a living. And I was doing whatever I could not to expose my vulnerability. And, so I always had to have money. I always had to have the best things, the best cars and the best house. And, really trying to pretend that I'm something that I'm not. And when I began to own up to myself, I realized I don't need all that stuff.
Yeah.
Why am I collecting all this junk?
That's so funny. I recognize that in my move too, just kind of even looking around on a superficial, this is, a small little level, but what do I have this for? Why am I so attached to it? What is it? How does it represent me? Why does it represent me? And really begun to, and that's really just the beginning of identifying with who and what we are,
Yeah.
what we like, what we stand for. When
Yeah.
is it fair
And
to?
when I owned up to who I was, I literally became a different person. And my friends around me, said, "Gosh, you changed, and you a strange person. We don't recognize you anymore." I said, "Yeah, that's because I'm becoming me. You didn't really know me. Know me. You knew the person that I was trying to be,
Yeah,
and that I was, by being false and fake. So being authentic with yourself and accepting of yourself, loving yourself, is the gateway to opening yourself up to the truth that's out there.
yeah,
Because if you don't open up to the truth in there, you'll never see the truth out there. And once you see the truth within, slowly you begin to open yourself to the truth that is out there. You begin to see things that you never saw before.
yeah,
You know, and that's what people generally have here. They have this disease called a cognitive dissonance, that they can't see what they see. They only see what they want to see, and they interpret what they see by what they've been told, rather than just seeing that thing for what it is. And so, people develop all kinds of phobias and crazy ideas about the world they live in, because they can't actually see what's there,
right.
and appreciate what's there, because they fill their minds with a lot of nonsense, a lot of dogma and doctrine, that it is not really who they are.
Yeah. It's really interesting to watch. And I had a friend situation as well as you did, Colin, where one of my best girlfriends had said, I want the old Chastity back. And I said, well, she's not here anymore, right? Like, I just, if that's not going to happen. Um, and until it's hard to watch people that we love as we're growing, right? It's hard to watch them not be able to see, but also understand to be compassionate for those who can't see, because they literally can't see it. It's not because it's not there, and it's not because you've gone mad. It's because they can't see it, because they wouldn't even be able to comprehend it. It's speaking another language. It's when we move up consciously in dimensions, other people can't see those dimensional truths. It's impossible. It's impossible. Um, this is making me think, with the secret societies, is it fair to say that we are, as a collective, right? Because if we're looking at us as a unit of one, eternal oneness, is it fair to say that we are following, and this is a really big statement, but that we are following a satanic path, right? Because if we're in a space where we're all being controlled, quote unquote, then we are subconsciously slash willingly participating in Satanism.
Yeah, yeah, because the Satanism is not about a guy with a trident and a long tail and two red horns on his head. That's not Satan. Satanism is really about the consciousness,
Yeah.
okay, that works against the Christic consciousness. So it's really, and Satan is not a person, and Satan is not one being. He's a collective of beings.
And
He has,
can embody in anybody's body.
yeah, and he has several identities, and they are separate things, but they work together. All these ideas that consciousness works together to create an environment of self-defeat amongst people. So people work against themselves because they can't see the truth. They don't want to know the truth. They've been taught lies from the beginning. But this whole group of beings who are in these satanic and secret organizations are people in leadership, in our governments, in our many of our industries, particularly the entertainment industry. Amazing that the number of musicians and singers and dancers and artists and they cover the wide field of the industry, Hollywood stars, the Hollywood industry per se, how it operates. And these people not only hide hide things from us, they hide the deeds from us.
Mhm.
It's a rituals that they perform in, and so it becomes hidden. And like pedophilia has been hidden for a very long time on this planet, and it's as old as the hills, uh, pedophilia and sodomy. It, it existed centuries, many centuries ago, even pre-Christian times. And these are nothing new, but they've been hidden from people.
Right.
So when people, like I've, spoken to some people about pedophilia and explained how it operates and who the people involved in, what their aims and goals are, people look at me and say, no, I don't believe in that nonsense. There's no such thing. Sure,
Yeah.
some people want to have, sex with children, but it's not widespread. It's just, a very small group of people.
It's it's the very small group of people that control the planet, um, and our consciousness. So yeah, as quote unquote small as that group of people is,
Yeah.
It's the group of people that are influencing our consciousness, and moreover
Yeah.
influencing our children's consciousness. I've actually
Yeah.
seen, we've had, the generations that are going to go up to, I don't know all the names for the generations, but I would say up to about age 25 and younger, so 25 and younger. And then there are some scattered above that as well, but they have, I feel like, a really unique brain structure and wiring. And it was really important to continue the project's social experiments to be able to normalize pedophilia. So they have literally been able to, so this is something unique about me, and I think other people have this as well. Since I was a child, I've been able to see programming. I can sense it on television shows, commercials, these kinds of things. I'm not someone who's like easily like hypnotized or stuff like that. I can see it. And so uh, it's interesting to be able to witness this, but they have created this programming, and somehow I was just reading something this morning that a friend sent to me about how it like is creating a protein in the brain, in the optic nerves or something like that. And so oh my gosh, it's just interesting how they've been working for years and years, and it's like they've like upgraded their system to be able to. Well, now schools are normalizing pedophilia, masturbation, um, uh, uh, everything. It's actually it's so vile, and there's an actual section in some of these learnings, these teachings, that tell a child how to convince somebody who's saying no to a sexual interaction, how to actually manipulate their mind and show them how they should be saying yes. So it's they're like normalizing now everyday interactions on teaching people how to be manipulative and coercive, and allowing these possessions, because I see possession demons or entities coming into the lower bodies. The lower pain body is how these come in, and they're sexual entities, right? And this is how they power up the grids for the planet, right? There are a bunch of they siphon those sexual energies, those excitable energies, and as you had said before, the inflammation, soul inflammation, and they take this and put them in power tanks to continue to run their programs that connect to our brains and run through our programs. And they sacrifice, these people sacrifice their own children. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah.
And they use code
Yeah.
words. They use code words and code signs, and people have been able to detect this. And so what do you have to say about like the code pieces about this? Like
What pieces?
like the codes, like that they use to signal each other for.
They have lots of signs. You know, one of their signs is that, and that is the 666 sign, because that has 3 sixes in it. 1, 2, 3. So that's one of their signs. Another one of their signs is that one, which is the Baphomet sign. Okay. Another of their signs is the eye. So that's the one-eyed symbol. The other one is veil of secrecy. You often see artists and musicians with one hand, one finger. In fact, there's a picture of Barack Obama with this finger up over his lips, which, you know, and many, like President Bush, this is one of his favorite signs, you know. And these people everywhere, they have secret handshakes, you know, where you don't do the normal handshake. You just reach out, do a soft handshake, but you take your thumb and you press it on between the thumb and the forefinger of the other person's hand, and that's a sign that you are now with a Freemason. They have the sign of the lightning, and the old band AC/DC had a lightning sign between the AC and DC, and everyone thought it related to electricity, but it didn't. And their whole philosophy, well, we're still dealing with science, so what other signs do they have? There's the checkerboard in their Masonic temples. There are a particular sign. And then in their temples, you get pillars. You get the 2 pillars with the mantle on top. And that is a sign of there being a temple, and that we are the temple of Satan. That's how they identify themselves. And that wicked kind of philosophy that they have, that and it's in all their books, and I'll leave the link of the video with you so you can go and watch the video, and everyone else can watch it. But they have this weird philosophy that there's no difference between good and evil, that evil is good, and that what you must do is you must deceive people through being good and being evil. So you hide your evil deeds from people, but you pretend you're good. And that is, you know, that's how they run this planet. That's how they get away with what they do, because they're doing evil behind the scenes, and they coming out as these wonderfully warm, happy people on, you know, in front of everyone else. Meantime, behind, they indulge in all kinds of wickedness. And every now and again, that wickedness spills over into riots or, you know, murders, wars, and they love that. But they believe that in order to create order on this planet, we have to create chaos. And once you've created enough chaos, order can only come out of that chaos. And that that is their sort of Latin monicum on order secularum, because they believe that order can only come out of chaos.
Right.
And
I know that there's a science experiment on that, isn't there? Some type of control and chaos or something. I remember watching something on that.
Yeah, and it, you know, that they wield that power that they have in all industries. It's in banking, it's in education, it's in science, it's in literature, the entertainment industry, the mainstream media. What happened, I spoke about, you know, history is controlled by them. Even geography to a large extent is also controlled by them because they don't tell us the truth of what's really inside the earth.
Yeah. No, they don't. I want to take people back to a minute to what you said about the black and white checkerboards. It's actually a mutation, and it creates the bi-wave polarity in order for them to create that bi-wave instead of the christic tri-wave. So I encourage people to really look this up and understand it, because this goes into not being able to heal the pain body, keeps the body separated, goes into gender reversals, and really understanding that this is a consciousness control, by being able to split the tri, completely do away with the tri-wave, and split the bi-wave and keep them split and running as an artificial intelligence through these reversal systems. So this goes back, this goes way back to the Luciferian rebellion. This goes back to wars over stargates, and there's plenty of information out there if you're interested and want to research it. And it's so interesting. Everyone says, you hear a lot of us say, do your research, do your research. And people will, why don't you just show me? And I find that most hysterical, because it's like you have to want to know, which means you have to seek in order to find, right?
Yeah.
If you want to find God, you seek that out. If you want to know who you are, you begin seeking for it. Don't just expect this information to fall into your lap and you're just, going to absorb it, and all of a sudden you're some enlightened being. That's not how it works,
Yeah.
So I get a little bit annoyed with that one. Well, why don't you just show me? Why don't you just this? Well, if you know so much, then how come? And it's like, do you want to know or not know? You do the work. You have to do the work. Somebody can't do it for you. It's like, with
Yeah.
massage or even session work that I do, it's like, I can help you, I can assist you, I can either hold the light or I can change the tissue in your body, but it's going to be your job to continue good nutrition, proper stretching, all of the things that need to happen in order for you to keep your spirit body intact and to keep your physicality, your muscles stretched and elongated, and your body moving properly. But okay, I'm done on my tangent now. But look up checkerboard mutation, because it's really very fascinating what they're able to do through their symboling, through their colors or lack thereof, and whatnot. So, okay. Thank you for
Yeah.
listening.
See, it's a funny thing, but I met a guy recently, and I said, "How are you going?" He said, "Oh, my life's not going anywhere. It's just boring, and I feel like I'm stuck in a rut." I said, "Well, the only difference between a rut and a grave is the depth. But if you think you're not going somewhere, just think in the last year, you have traveled 940 million miles around the sun on a spaceship called Earth, which is revolving at 1,000 kilometers per hour at the equator. And you say you're not going anywhere. You don't even know where you've been."
I love it. I love it.
You see,
Yeah.
when you have that knowledge, it gives you a different perspective. That's why people must go seek the knowledge, because it gives you a different perspective of life. Because having the knowledge now that every year I travel 940 million miles around the universe, around the solar system, is like, wow, that just blows my mind. And that every night when I'm sleeping, I'm moving. But all these symbols that we see in two dimensions are actually moving. Nothing stays the same. It also gives you an idea of, for instance, the pyramids. They look like they're stationary, and they are fixed stationary to the earth, but the earth is moving. So those pyramids are moving, and that creates certain energy on the planet. It creates a vortex. And that vortex is energy, and that's how the ley lines connect with each other on this planet through the movement of the earth around the planet. So, knowledge will move you away from the, but not, will move you into the understanding of the dynamics of how life works. And that, frankly, it's made my life much more exciting. Although I don't do a lot, but just experiencing, being on this planet, and I've traveled 940 million miles in the last year, it just blows my mind.
I know, right? It's pretty
And I
incredible.
didn't go anywhere.
It's pretty incredible. And to know how powerful our minds are, with, once we're able to really comprehend and understand who we are and what we are, we can bilocate and more than be in more than one place, actually at a time, more than two places at a time. It's actually very possible and doable. We are amazing. The human construct is absolutely amazing, and we're capable of so much. And and we're missing so much of this, and that is because our truth has been hidden in the darkness. It's been hidden through secret handshakes and societies and symbols, and even some of the most powerful symbols available to us have been reconstructed and used as, for nefarious purposes, like the swastika, for instance. I don't know. That is a very powerful symbol spiritually and organic to our templating. And so, and now it's like we don't want to use it because it freaks people out. So it's not like you're going to express this, wear it on your shirt or, whatever, because it's been misconstrued and used for nefarious purposes, to keep us away from it, to keep us away from the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, and the swastika existed long before Nazi Germany. It existed in Roman times. It was one of the symbols that the Roman legions used. It existed long before that. It was something that the Egyptians knew about and used in their symbology. So it just exposing information, becoming, exposing the truth of who you are, and then seeing the truth out there just opens up a whole new world of experience for oneself. So it takes one away from that cognitive dissonance. So you begin to see the things you see. So when you look at a tree, you don't just see a tree, you see bark, you see leaves, you see branches, you see and you understand the roots of that tree, bringing up all that nourishment up through the capillaries of the tree to all the trees. You see the trees at night giving off oxygen, and then during the day breathing in carbon monoxide and assisting the planet Earth to survive. And so you don't just see a tree anymore. You see a very dynamic thing or being. Of the way I look at it is I see another soul being who's there doing what they do for the rest of humanity, for all of us, for not just for themselves, but giving us fruit, giving us oxygen, improving the content of the soil, because plants don't only take nutrients out of the soil, they also feed nutrients to the soil, and they take oxygen from the earth and they breathe it out at night, and then during the day they take carbon monoxide and breathe that into the earth, and so it improves the carbon base of earth. So plants, developing an understanding of how things work and exposing yourself to the truth, it gives you a different perspective, totally different perspective on what life is, what art is, what music is, what conversation is, what relationships are about, what sex is, and what it's meant to do and be, and procreation. It gives you an understanding of the relationship with the stars why the stars out there? Why do I see the stars? And, what is in between me and the stars? And so just having that mind of curiosity is very, very important. So I do believe that people should really, develop that curiosity that they want to know, because when people know, that brings in the light. And when we expose to the light exposes the darkness. So this whole notion of secrecy and keeping things secret is only because people don't want to go and have a look for themselves.
Right. Do you
They
think
want someone else to help.
they want somebody else? Yeah. They want somebody to do the work for them, because that's what we've been conditioned to have, to be a part of. We've been conditioned to be part of a slave system. We have
Yeah.
slave minds, slave consciousness that is still very much running through our central nervous system, and it's actually coming in through. They actually control the spirit and soul in order to control our own central nervous system. So, once you can gain control of this by researching and understanding the constructs, and you guys can see all of this stuff in Colin's teachings, understanding the constructs of the human body, and how to take control back of this. And because then you're not going to be mind manipulated. You can't be, because whoever controls the mind controls the soul, or whoever controls the soul controls the mind. I said that backwards. So once you control your own soul, you're in complete control. And what's happening right now on this planet is the awakening of the high heart, right? So this is the awakening of the Albion body. This is the awakening of this level of consciousness that brings us to a spiritual awareness. And so, connecting into this piece is not going to happen for those that are choosing slave consciousness. It's not going to happen. Sorry to be a bummer, like sorry to say, but it's like once you disconnect from that, like you're done for this lifetime in terms of like soul connection. So
Yeah.
um
And in the ascension, the earth will split into two.
Yeah.
One will be a three-dimensional earth. Yeah, that's the old earth, and the new earth will go into the fifth dimension. Okay.
Yeah.
And I've studied the dynamics of how that will work. But that's another topic for another
That
day.
is that's a whole, that goes into a whole nother thing. That's really mind bending for people. Like, wait, what, am I still going to see my friends? I don't understand. Right. So that's like something that is mind bending.
Yeah, they'll see their friends because they'll be there. If they're there, then they're with their best friend, hopefully. And what I was saying is the more people learn and adjust their consciousness into the higher mind of the Christ mind, the Christ mind, the God mind, the more easy it is for their consciousness to move into the fifth dimension.
Yeah.
Because you can't go into the fifth dimension with a three-dimensional mindset. You have to adjust your mindset, because if your mindset is actually a form of energy, and this transformation of Earth into a new Earth is an energetic process. Because if you can understand that all matter is wave-based, it's an energy-based, it's not based on physical matter. Physical matter is just an expression of the energy behind it. So the Earth moving into a higher dimension is going to be an energetic change on the planet. And if you have the same mindset of the 3D Earth going into a 5D Earth, you ain't going to make it. Because you're just going to be vibrating at too low a rate of vibration that it will harm you to go to the fifth dimension. Yeah. So those people will choose to remain with 3D Earth and go wherever that's going.
Yeah, I agree. I see it as it might sound weird when I say this, but I see it as like a lot of people are saying the new earth, but I see it as like the new old earth, like the soul aspect of earth that was originally exploded. And, it's like we've put these pieces back together, which means we've put our consciousness pieces back together in order to recreate the essence of what once was. So
Yeah.
that's how I see that. Um, I know Emily is saying she feels like she has been fighting her whole memory. So she's putting pieces back together of what she knows she knows. And yeah, that's interesting. That's kind of what we're
Yeah.
doing, right? Like,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
My higher self often used to tell me this. I said, I don't understand this. How am I going to know all this stuff? And he said, you already know it.
yeah,
You've just forgotten.
yeah,
Just try to remember.
yeah. Just, before you go to bed at night, you just ask to remember, you know, just start talking to yourself and saying, I want to remember who and what I am, right?
Yeah.
And you will, if you have the wanting to know and the wanting to heal, and the truth, uh, and it's authentic and in alignment, you will know. It will come to you. You just ask. This is what we forget. We just need to ask. We need to ask for help and assistance and be specific in what we ask for. We are masters at manifesting, okay? Like for real, masters. And
Yeah.
once you understand that, it just it can't not happen. It can't not happen. We live in a universe of abundance. There's not any one, some people, for instance, like information like we're sharing here, Colin, or session work. I see healers, quote unquote healers. Oh, I don't want to tell any, I don't want to, there's not enough to go around, there's not enough to share. What if this, or I don't want to tell anybody this information because all these things. And it's like, no, that's all out here. We all share, we all live, and we all communicate differently too. So listening to Colin and I talk might not resonate with somebody who's clearly on an ascension path, but maybe whether it be the rate of vibration, the level of information that's coming in, whatever, maybe it doesn't resonate. So then that's cool. We might know somebody else that vibrates a little different. We can say, hey, go check this person out because they're sharing, the same message, but in a different frequency, right? That you can hear
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a transition, I consider my awakening was not a sudden epiphany. In a sense, I've been awakening my entire life,
Mhm.
but I went through a 3-year, fairly intense process, and that process of awakening was what changed my life.
Mhm.
Is because I allowed myself to go through that process, and as you say, I said, how am I ever going to learn this stuff?
Mhm.
And then someone talked about holograms. The next thing I see a book called Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot in a bookstore. I buy the book, and then I start studying holograms and holographics and how holograms. And then it all starts piecing together because I was willing to go through the process and put myself through the process and be curious about the process. And understanding comes from curiosity. That is the mother of understanding. Because if you don't have that curiosity within you, you won't ask the right questions. You won't question everything, and you won't get the answers. And the more you question, the more answers you get, the more you realize that you are capable. You are the answer. I don't need someone else there to tell me how it works. I can go find out for myself.
Yeah.
And then when you become the answer to your own questions, you can ask the questions and you go find the answer. And for instance, this, uh, uh, the pandemic that we've had, the so-called pandemic, has enlightened me so much about virology, bacteria. I've learned so much about, the immune system and how that works. And And because I was curious, I wanted to know. So I went and found out this information.
Mhm.
And I know so much more now about what's going on than I did a year ago. But a year ago, I had intuition about what was happening, but I didn't know. So I took that intuition and turned it into knowing.
Yeah.
Now I know what's going on.
Oh, and that is beautiful. That's you and I are on the same page there, right? Like we're everyone has kind of different missions, different things that they're designed to share and know and understand. And definitely, I would say energetic medicines, bringing back the truth of the healing powers within. I think you and I very much resonate with that. And that does mean understanding virology. That does mean understanding the genome. That does mean going beyond what quote unquote, I call it cabal science, tells us who and what we are. And science has to catch up with those of us that remember. So
Yeah,
it's going to be really fun. It's going to be a really fun uh, journey, I think, and I know that there are some pretty awful things that we are witnessing, and it's important to witness them in order to understand them and understand that even without knowing that you have a choice, and people are making choices that unfortunately are detrimental to their soul's evolution. And again, that's just something we're going to have to witness. I think Colin is frozen at the moment, so I'll just give him a moment to unfreeze. Um, but yeah, there's definitely a lot happening, a lot going on. And a lot of us really, it's just time to dig down deep and remember who and what we are and what we're capable of. Oh, and he got kicked off. He'll probably come right back on. We are coming to an end though. So if he doesn't come back on, then we'll say our goodbyes. But I want to give him a chance to pop back in here. Um, Gosh, you guys, lots and lots of stuff to go over. There's still so much more that goes into symbology, Freemasonry, and also things that go into understanding consent and free will that are tied into Freemasonry and tied into um, slave mind and say slave planet. So I hope that we've inspired you to do research, do your own research, asking amazing questions of yourself and asking questions of those around you instead of just taking everything that is just handed out easily accessible. So yeah, I hope you've been inspired to inquire. And I just want to say thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Please check out Colin's website. He's at the writings of Colin Joe.com. So that's the writings of colinjoe.com. He has a lot of really new uh, stuff out about the body and about healing the body. So he's started really at the base of understanding of very simple ways of understanding who and what you are as a energy being, and that moves right into the energy of medicines. And I know that that's kind of a controversial topic to be able to say medicines and not have a medical degree. So I say that loosely and just say that it's we have the power to heal. And so anyway, thank you guys so much. You can find me at Linktree. I am Chastity Ann for other spiritual teachings, classes, and healings. And wow, thanks guys. We're sending you so much love. Bye.